Scottish football is on fire today. Celtic fans fear Ange is coming back for their best player. Rangers could be taken over by the 49ers, turning Ibrox into Wall Street. Brendan Rodgers is under pressure after that Derby disaster. And Police Scotland? Investigating a splash of water. Splash. Those were just the headlines. Stick around for the full story and even more Scottish football updates. So here we are, nearly 2 years since Ange Postecoglou swapped the green and white of Glasgow for the chaos and caffeine of North London. After winning a treble with Celtic and earning hero status, Ange took the plunge into Premier League madness. And at first, it looked like he'd sprinkled some of that Parkhead magic over Spurs. Top of the table after 10 games, fans singing his name. But oh, how quickly the weather changes in English football. Fast forward to now, and Tottenham are sinking faster than a pint in the Gallowgate before kickoff. 15 losses, pressure mounting, and Europa League hopes clinging by a thread. But of course, what does any manager under fire do? That's right, go back to the old reliable. Enter Daizen Maeda. Brought to Celtic by Ange, the Japanese Dynamos become a whirlwind down the flanks, blistering pace, relentless pressing, and 4 goals in this season's Champions League to remind everyone he's more than just an engine. And now, whispers are getting louder that Ange might try to lure him down to London this summer. Cue the anxiety in the East End. Paul Slane's Celtic daft and famously unpredictable voice what many fans are thinking. It's a real worry. Spurs need bite, energy, goals. And Maeda ticks all those boxes, especially in an Ange system where pressing isn't optional, it's a way of life. Spurs haven't replaced Harry Kane properly. They've had a merry-go-round of forwards. And let's be honest, Selong's Europa League stats are tidy, but not earth-shattering. 2 goals and 4 assists in 8 games versus Maeda's 4 goals and 1 assist in the Champions League. Big difference in opposition, big difference in stage. And don't forget, Celtic have history with losing players to England's top flight. But this time, it's a bit more personal. If Maeda does leave, he wouldn't just be going south. He'd be going back to Ange. If Maeda follows Ange to Spurs, would it prove that Celtic are just a stepping stone for players and managers? Or is that just a harsh reality of modern football? Let the debates begin. Rangers snatch a pulsating 3-2 win at Parkhead, Barry Ferguson's biggest statement. Yet since taking charge, instead of talking about goals, tactics, or that cheeky late winner, the headlines are still dripping with water. Vaclav Cerny, who's been electric this season with 17 goals and 7 assists, decided to celebrate the win by giving a wee spray of water toward the home crowd. Now, was it clever? No. Was it violent? Not even close. But somehow, it's led to talk of an 8-game ban, and get this, an actual Police Scotland investigation. Let's take a breath here. We're talking about water, not punches, not flares, not a rogue boot flying into the stands. Just water. It's the kind of thing that happens at kids' birthday parties, and apparently now requires taxpayer funding to investigate in professional football. Derek Ferguson's not having it, and frankly, he's got a point. The man's asking what most are thinking. Is this really where we're at? Policing hydration-based mischief? Of course, Cerny does need to wise up. It is the old firm. We all know it's basically football with a side order of TNT. One raw move can turn it from derby to disaster in a flash. And yes, chucking water at rival fans isn't exactly in the manual for post-match diplomacy. But an 8-game ban? That's more punishment than some players get for 2-footing someone into next week. Should footballers be banned for winding up fans, even if it's something as harmless as spraying water? Or is this just the modern game going completely soft? Drop your take in the comments below. And try not to throw anything. Oh dear, the green half of Glasgow is still nursing a hangover after that latest derby sting. Brendan Rodgers, who looked like he'd swallowed a lemon hole. And it's not just the result that's causing the Parkhead palpitations, it's the pattern. That's now 9 goals conceded in the last 3 clashes with Rangers. And the aura of control, once wrapped tightly around Rodgers' reign, is looking a tad frayed. Let's be honest, Rodgers rarely gets it wrong at Celtic Park, but this one's going to linger. And with the international break giving him a bit of breathing space and a room full of mirrors, no doubt, it's decision time in the East End. Starting at the back, we've got the Greg Taylor dilemma. Now, Taylor's numbers don't look terrible. 7 assists from left back is tidy, But the eye test this season, patchy at best. Add in some transfer interest brewing, and Jeffrey Schlupp sniffing around that starting spot like a cat near warm laundry. And Rodgers has to decide, does he double down on Taylor with a shiny new contract and trust, or does he ride the Schlupp train and see where it goes? Then there's the trusty issue. No, not trusty as in reliable, though Rodgers would bite your hand off for a reliable. Center half right now, we're talking about Austin Trusty. He missed the Derby and even pulled out of the USMNT squad. That leaves Naraki, who actually handled himself alright despite barely featuring this term. But some fans reckon Rodgers has been a bit unfair to the Polish defender, and now might be the perfect time to show a little, well, trust. Further up the pitch, Nicholas Kuhn's been working so hard he's nearly sweating sawdust. John Hartson reckons he's over-trying, and you can see it bags of effort, but not a lot of end product lately. Rodgers has to dip into that man management toolbox and figure out how to reignite Kuhn's spark without dimming the rest of the squad around him. And up top, here comes the big debate, Daizen Maeda or Adam Idah. Maeda's been absolutely flying. 28 goals, 9 assists, and he covers more ground than a lost hiker. But by playing him centrally, Rodgers is leaving Idah on the bench and crucially weakening the wings. If Kuhn stays cold and Jota's on the move, maybe it's time to shift Maeda back out wide and give Idah a proper run through the middle. Because let's not forget, there's still silverware up for grabs. The treble dream's not dead yet, but another slip like that against Rangers, and it'll be Maeda running laps around Hampton while the trophy heads in the wrong direction. Has Brendan Rodgers lost his touch in the big games, or is this just a blip in a long-term plan that's still on track? Right then, pull up a chair because this one's got more layers than a deep-fried Lasagne supper. It looks like the stars and stripes might soon be flying a bit higher over Ibrox, as Paraag, Marathe, and Andrew Cavenagh, backed by the muscle of the 49 Earths Enterprises, close in on a full takeover of Rangers. That's the same 49 Earths crew from the NFL, who now fancy a slice of the SPFL pie. And make no mistake, it's not just them Hibs, Dundee, St. Johnstone. There's a whole Braveheart meets Wall Street thing going on here. According to Hibs owner Ian Gordon, it's all about the heritage. Scottish football's not some franchise plastic operation you pick up and move to Las Vegas. It's gritty, it's soaked in rain, and it's got a century and a half of busted knees, glory days, and heartache. Gordon reckons that's exactly what Yanks can't get back home, and why they're so eager to dive in, even if financially speaking, Scottish football is about as easy to profit from as selling shortbread in a famine. Then there's Bill Foley and his Black Knight posse at Hibs, waxing lyrical about tradition, passion, and wartime survival. Fair enough, Scottish football's history does put a lot of other leagues to shame. And for these investors, it's not just a romantic fling. There's serious talk of European competition, player development, and taking on that team across town. A cheeky dig at Hearts if you didn't catch it. Meanwhile at Rangers, the fans are holding their breath. Not just for the paperwork to clear. There's enough red tape to knit a tartan blanket, but to see if this American cavalry can finally bring the club back to where it thinks it belongs. The gap to Celtic domestically has become a bit of a sore spot, and that lingering Europa League run might be the only bright spot this season. Chris Jack's been poking around and reckons the final 1% of the deal is proven to be the trickiest standard fare when you've got more shareholders than pies at a matchday kiosk. But all signs point to a new era beginning next season, with fresh faces in the boardroom, and maybe just maybe a shiny new war chest for whoever ends up managing the squad. Barry Ferguson's keeping his cards close to his chest, not wanting to get binned before he even gets properly started. Sensible lad. But we all know how these things go. New owners like to bring in their guys. And if there's money on the table, suddenly every out-of-work manager from Seville to Seattle fancies a wee trip to Govan. Asterisk, asterisk. If American investors end up calling the shots at Rangers, will it still feel like Rangers to the fans, or is Scottish football slowly selling off its soul, club by club? Asterisk, asterisk. Let us know in the comments. Just keep it civil, aight? If you haven't seen Scottish football yesterday's video yet, you're missing out. Go check it out now.